Welcome back guys to a new video. Now today's video is going to be on the video I know you've been waiting for a long while, and I'm really sorry for the long obviously wait for the next video, because as many of you guys know, I'm very busy at the moment. My final deadline is Friday for all the coursework I have to be doing, and once that's all out of the way, videos will be going back to normal. So really sorry on the the delay of uploads, but yes, I want to be getting this one up for you. And if I sound a little bit quiet, it's because it's very late and I don't want to wake anyone up by just doing my normal voice, which is frustrating, but I've just had no time at the moment. But I cannot wait just to fully focus on YouTube and get videos out for you guys daily, and maybe even double uploads most days. That would be absolutely great. But apart from that, we are going to be going through all the new dinos, as I said that I would do in my last video. When obviously with new dinos get released with patch notes and stuff like that, I'm just going to get you guys ready, sort of, so you know what to expect when they get released. So we go through everything, all the news you need to know, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So if you wouldn't mind dropping a like if you do enjoy it, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing if you're new to the channel, that would be great too. Thank you for all the support you've been showing, guys. I really it just means so much to me to see how close. I think we're about 110 subscribers away from 40,000 now, which is unbelievable. When this video's, obviously when this video goes live, it's just crazy to think that, guys. And just thank you so much. 40,000 is a huge number, and I can't believe we're creeping up to that already. But I'm just gonna get straight in with this video now, talking about all the new dinos. So version 258, as you can see on the screen, ETA is May the 30th. If you haven't seen my video that I did last, it was just basically telling you everything about what's coming, and then in these videos I just explain everything about the the 5 new dinos that are coming out with the update. But anyway, we're gonna just get straight into it now, talking about the first ever one, which is the one you guys know. I know it's not a hyena, but I always call it the hyena anyway, because it reminds me enough of the hyena. So I've always called it the hyena. You can try and say the name if you can. You guys know I'm awful with names on this. I always call it Hyaenodon. I think, I really do not know, but I'm awful with a lot of names on ARK. Well, the amount of time, how long I've been in the ARK community for and doing ARK videos for, hopefully one day I'll improve. But it's the new ones that I struggle with the most, and after a while I'm fine with all the other dino names. But yes, this guy is tameable but not rideable, and it's because they're quite smaller. Obviously they're not small, but they're smaller like hyenas basically. You can't ride hyenas in real life, and so they're not tameable, but they're very good. They're going to be so useful. So when I go into the information about this guy, you will realize how solid these guys are and how useful they're going to be in the game when they do get released. So among the island's, pack hunters, the carnivore is most found around the mountains and different areas like that, in packs of 3 to 5. It's a very intelligent predator. Before engaging, it determines if the payoff of the fight is worth the risk of the injury. So say if it's on its own, which usually they're in packs of 3 to 5, and they see a T-Rex, sorry about that, guys, and they see a T-Rex, there's more of a chance that they will leave it alone. But if they see something a little bit smaller, like obviously a parasaur, they're going straight off that parasaur. But there is a chance they might fight a T-Rex. I mean, I doubt it. I can't say because it's not in the game yet. But they will take an injury, but they only will if it's worth the risk. So obviously, you got to find out whether they're going to actually want to be able to fight them. I don't know what things they'll fight and what they won't. If they're in a pack of 5, they might take on a T-Rex, which is a lower level. I really don't know. But, we'll find out about that when it does get released. So despite being too small to ride, they're very popular as pets. Their intelligence means they train well, and their natural pack strength makes them excellent hunting dogs. Their compatibility, to quickly recover health by consuming raw flesh off a bone ensures they can take much punishment yet continuing to fight. A common sight, basically what they're saying is they howl everywhere. They're if you see them, they can be quite spooky, because they'll howl through the night, and they'll howl to the other one and you'll hear it. So if it is nighttime, then obviously it's going to be pretty frightening. If you're a new survivor on the island, and you're not built up and you're not nicely cozy in a certain house on a server or something, then you're going to be a little bit worried when you hear their howls and jeers and stuff going throughout the night, echoing everywhere. So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys are going to be like. So they often prefer not to fight unless there already is a weakened prey nearby or a fresh carcass. This changes quickly through the different the presence. If something becomes injured, they might leave it at the start but if it gets really bloody, one of the dinos or something, they might just suddenly decide, you know what, we're going in for the attack, and it, you know, it becomes aggressive very quickly, and the packs hunt with a ruthless ambition. I'm going to use my own word there. You know, when they attack, they really attack with real force, and each vicious chomp of savage meat it means it will recover stamina and health so quickly. So this is a guy to look forward to. I would say in this update, this is probably the second most one I'm excited for. Like, you know, I'm really looking forward to this guy, and I think adding the more carnivores into the game always makes it that more exciting. So we're going to move on to the second dino, obviously that's going to be coming out of the update, which is something they helped the name. You helped me out with the name, which is the Hesperornis. I think the Hesperornis, I'm going to just call it, even though it's probably wrong. That's what I'm going to call it. And as you can see, it's tameable but not rideable, and I'm going to be telling you guys the information about this guy now. So appearing as something as like half duck, half dinosaur, is a medium-sized fish-eating bird, common in the rivers and the lakes of the island. It would be about 2/3 of the height of a human if stood tall, but rarely does. So he spends most of his time gliding along the surface of the water, where it's more, you know, where it can be, you know, this at its safest option, where it can get its most food and stuff like that. So it's not really useful for hunting, and it's not really useful for like affection and stuff like that towards its, you know, the survival or something like that. But it's usually kept for specialized eggs it produces. When rendered correctly, the eggs separate into two distinctive, I'm going to use that, substances. One is a protein substance which is high in calories, and the other is an oily liquid that is as effective as the oil found in the ocean. So it's going to be useful for, like, you know, for your fabricators and things like that, for when you need to make yourself gasoline and, you know, all different things like that. They're going to be useful for. So it's barely a threat to any land creature, and its legs are too short for it to move around very, you know, effectively, but it's surprisingly fast on the water and can easily hunt down fish and small other water dwelling creatures. So it's not really going to be a threat to you at all. It's just going to be leaving you alone, as well as most things on the land, but it will obviously go for fish to eat. So if you could probably use this to get you fish. I mean, it's not a very good hunting creature, it said, so, you know, it's going to be interesting about how this guy's going to work as well. So the third dino that is going to be coming out is one I'm actually very excited for as well. I'm just going to call it the giant sloth. You guys can try and pronounce its name if you want, but it says giant sloth, so I think I should be allowed to call it the giant sloth. But it is tameable but not rideable, which is actually upsetting, because obviously the giant sloth is going to be giant, and I would love to see more about this, but unfortunately it's not. So, you know, I would love to see more, but, you know, and this about, you know, being able to ride it and, you know, be able to climb up trees and stuff, but unfortunately you can't right now, which is pretty sad. But anyway, moving on from that, so it is one of the larger mammals on the island, and this is most shocking because it's essentially a giant sloth. If you crossbred it with an elephant and a bear, because of its size and its girth, it's uncommonly resistant to being knocked out unconscious. So you know, it's going to take a while. You know, it says resistant. You can tame it, but it is going to be very, very hard to tame this guy, and it's an incredibly useful creature to tame, so long as you don't intend to fight other tribes. Basically, its torpor's crazy, so, you know, you can use it for, like, anything. Obviously, it's going to take a while to actually get down in the first place, but, you know, you can use it to your, you know, once it's tamed up to attack and stuff like that. And if anyone tries to trank it, or, you know, it's going to take a while. And it gets very angry towards insects as well. It makes it an ideal farm, you know, for farming large quantities of chitin from the bugs on the island, or simply just defending itself against them. So they do get very, very annoyed by the bugs on the island. So, you know, you're going to be able to harvest a lot of chitin from them. But despite being a herbivore, it will basically, it consumes many of the insects, and you know, from removing the insides without damaging the shell, which is interesting, maximizing the extraction of chitin. So you're gonna, if you need chitin, then this is your guy. You know, like, you know, he's gonna be, like, in his inventory is just going to be topped up with chitin, and it's going to be, you know, if it does fight bugs. So, you know, putting this guy near a swamp area, or, you know, some sort of, like, you know, in the grassy lands is going to be useful for this guy as well. So, you know, otherwise it's very slow and peaceful, but becomes faster the more aggressive of the creature. You know, so it'll become faster and faster if it does feel intimidated or anything like that. So that is going to be a useful one into the game. Obviously upsetting that you can't ride it, but you know, it's going to be a huge huge thing, and I'm excited to see this further on into the game. So the second from final dino I'm going to be showing you is like a, sort of, to me it's going to be an underwater / land creature, and it's called the Megalania. I think, I might get it wrong, the Megalana or the Megalina I'm going to go for. It's tameable and it's actually rideable, which is good because we haven't got I think this is the only rideable one in the whole of the update that we're going to be getting, which is interesting. Going to be a cool one, as you can see, but it is among the largest creatures found throughout the island's cave networks, reaching up to 3 meters long. It can move vertically up the cave walls with little difficulty, using its claws and iron strength grips. Fortunately, the size means it's unlikely to sneak up on anyone, so basically, it's a very dangerous creature, but you're most likely going to see it coming towards you without it attacking you by sneak, because it's meant to be pretty damn big. It's the extremely rare ability of it to effortlessly climb walls makes it high, like a very good mount to use to get around. It's not actually the fastest, but it is very, very, very strong. But they say it's not the fastest and not the toughest. But I think this will be very useful if you pump. That's what I mean. If you pump in the melee damage or the melee damage of this guy, I think, as you can tell even by the look of him, I think he's going to be pretty useful in that aspect. But it's going to be good to get around places, and you guys know what I mean, climbing the caves and things like that. It's going to be interesting to see if it can climb trees as well. But right now, there's actually no information on this. So the way it can unless it actually, no, it doesn't. I thought it didn't for a second, because I have read through this before and I didn't think it said anything about the trees. So the way it can effortlessly climb caves and scale mountains means it always have a place in any advanced tribe stables. So yeah, as you can see here, it will drain the victim's effective strength and health until death, unless cured by a rare antidote. So this is what happened is, it's a venomous creature, so it looks like it's going to give you some sort of poison, which is if it does bite you. So this could be quite an effective dino in the aspect of poisoning you. And if you do pump the melee damage in a lot, then that's going to be useful for you guys too. So I'm going to be stopping with this guy here and moving on to the final one, which is, you guys are obviously wondering what is your favourite dino out of this, Dom, and mine is going to be going with this, which is the relative of the T-Rex. I'm so excited for this guy. Obviously, the thing that a lot of people are upset by is you can't actually ride. Oh, it's actually been changed now. It's actually been changed. That's weird doing it live. It is actually, well, I've been told that this has been changed to rideable, but I've been told it actually isn't, which is very, very interesting. So let me read through this, and then you guys will see what I'm going on about, whether we know, whether we actually don't know if it's tameable or if it's but we know it's tameable, but we don't actually know if it's rideable. So we're going to be reading through unless it's actually been changed. This is going to be a first thing for me in this video, reading with you guys. So obviously, right now, it says, it is 100% tameable. It's the relative of the T-Rex. It has an incredibly loud roar, like crazily loud roar. But from what I know, this wasn't actually rideable, and I think it hasn't been changed. But if it is rideable, then I'm going to be the happiest person, because when I last did a video, this was not rideable. So, it's believed to be related to the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but noticeably different upon first glance. Feathered creatures are not necessarily viewed as dangerous predators in the same light as others. However, this strikes fear into most of the skilled hunters on the island. There are a few wild predators that are able to pack hunt alongside. They are usually hostile with the carnos, so I think they should be alright usually with carnos. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe the odd one might have a fight every now and again, but they're usually hostile with them, so they might come alongside them, they might not, depending on the certain situation. So, with such ease, it is only the creature, that is seen that can induce such a state of panic with its roar. As I said, most creatures will flee the area if it hears its roar. If you hear its roar, it's going to be loud, and many things will flee from it. So that's going to be interesting to see that. It's very powerful, if you're going to be attacking or defending at the same time. With its mighty roar, it can induce fear in other people's creatures, and some sort of confident boosting battle cry, which obviously gives fear to other creatures as well, and it has this sort of a unique leadership towards it. So what has actually been changed recently, guys, is it looks like it is actually rideable right now, which maybe wildcard have changed, because before they actually had something where it said no, it had no on rideable, and on here it said no as well. So I think recently this has actually been changed, which is useful to know, because there was something in here recently that said that it wasn't rideable. So now that we do know that this thing is going to be rideable, that is the updated thing in this video, which I am so happy about. But anyway guys, I am going to be ending the video here because I'm so sorry on the late upload. This is crazy, and this is why I've been talking quieter, and I probably could have put, you know, more effort into this video if it was earlier into the day, and I wanted to, guys, but I just wanted to get a video out because I feel so bad about how long it's taken me to do videos and stuff. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links will always be in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon.